Hello again. Now, the teddy bear clinic says children need to be enlightened, informed and empowered to make positive choices. This comes after Social Development Minister Lindiwe Zulu launched the Disrupting Harm report. This report aims to protect children and their rights to grow up free from sexual exploitation, trafficking, and to provide education and advocacy in this regard. To tell us more on this, or to speak to us more about this, I'm joined now by Dr. Shaheda Omar from the Teddy Bear Clinic. Dr. Omar, good afternoon. Welcome to Today here on eNCA. Thank you very much for your time. How significant is the fact that this report is coming out now, just after, in the same week after we've had the GBV and Femicide Summit?
So it's very significant because if you think about the processes at the second presidential summit where children's voices have been flighted for the first time, it's a momentous occasion that children have been acknowledged and validated, where children in their own words were allowed a platform to respond to the many challenges that they've faced and the fact that they were not even consulted or engaged in the national steering plan. And, working over the past few years, we, in the second phase where children are now actually given that platform, and that these children made a strong recommendation around the next pillar, because as we know with the GBV summit, there are 6 pillars, and they included the 7th pillar, which is the children's platform, the children's engagement, the children's voices. So the voiceless getting a voice, but also ensuring the safety and protection of children. So this is very relevant and significant that today's report certainly has followed the GBV summit.
What is this report highlighting? What are the key highlights that are coming out of this report?
Well, I think the most important thing here is that ensuring that children are given the necessary information, that they are educated. It's psychoeducation. It's not about teaching children to engage in sexual conduct or to experiment. On the contrary, it's providing a lot of information. We know information is knowledge, knowledge is power, and power liberates, which means that the content of this report highlights the fact that children, when they have this information, and we know that children are very vulnerable, and a lot of children are subjected to brutalities, online sexual exploitation, offline exploitation. So providing this kind of opportunities to children would enable them to make informed, positive choices, because children are at risk of being kidnapped, of being trafficked. And we're finding this on a daily basis. It's not something that is new and foreign to us. So this report makes provision for that. It highlights the very many challenges and concerns that we are faced with.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I have spoken before over years about this whole issue of child abuse. And most of the children who fall victim to such abuse, it happens in the homes. It happens in places where they should be looked after and protected. But we still have very much the stigma around issues of sex in homes. What does the report say about that?
Well, the report speaks to the fact that if these children are not provided that information, if we continue to hold on to the stigma and the taboos around sex and sexuality, we're going to find more and more children that are going to be subjected to further trauma and further abuse. And I think that is something we need to take cognizance of, that this report is very, very important.
Yeah, so,
and it comes at a very...
Yeah, so basically, sorry, Dr. Omar, it says without education, without discussing these issues with children, you are actually exposing them or making them more vulnerable.
Indeed, absolutely. Because if they don't have this education, they don't have this information, where do children... I think we also need to realize that most children are accessing the internet, and when they don't have direct access, they have their friends, their peers, where they access the internet. And of course, the information that is provided is not always processed in a manner or interpreted and understood appropriately and adequately. And sometimes this lends itself to many other challenges. But we also need to be aware of the fact that children are engaging with online predators, your preferential and career predators, offenders who are waiting and lurking on the websites and waiting to prey on vulnerable children. And we actually see many young children falling prey to this, where there's been online exploitation, there's been attempted abduction, there's been, where girls have been lured to advertising agencies, false representations, and they've actually succumbed to that. So in order to prevent those kinds of risks and dangers, in fact, going through this report, it highlights the fact that children will be in a more protective space, that they would certainly be finding themselves in a situation where, because of the information and knowledge, they would be unlikely to fall prey to these kind of unsavory and illegal and unacceptable challenges.
Yeah, I mean, this digital world of ours of today has really exposed a lot of channels that can be accessed. I guess part of this, I just want to get your views, Dr. Omar, would include educating parents as well around understanding and knowing what their children are up to when they are online.
I think this is, you've highlighted a very important and pertinent point, that it's not just about the children. And children do not exist in isolation. They're not in a vacuum. They're part of a bigger system. So it's not just parents. It actually looks broader than the parents. So educators and other significant others that are working with children, that are engaging with children, need to be alerted, need to be made aware of the risks and dangers and how to manage online activities as well to safeguard children. I think that is also very important. And we don't want to, prevent children from engaging on the internet, because there are opportunities, great opportunities for learning. So it's about making, the online interaction a place of learning, a place of opportunity, but at the same time ensuring that it's a safe space, that they manage it responsibly without falling prey to dangers and risky behavior.